Hola, chicas, chingonas, Latinas, Latinxers. Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be with y'all. We're having a savory fusion of art and culinary history with a dear friend of mine who's an amazing human being and a fellow Tejana, which is really exciting. She's Chef Maite Gomez-Rejón, founder of ArtBites. If you haven't heard of it, go and check it out. Follow it on Instagram. This is going to be a virtual class that uniquely weaves art and culinary history through cooking, tasting, stories, so many delicious stories. Welcome, Maite. I'm so excited to finally cook with you.
Thank you, Eva. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited for this invitation, and yeah, all of it. This is amazing.
All of it. I've been a fan of yours for a very long time because you really combine history and art and food, and the fact that you're Latina, that influences that, right? Like influences what your eye goes to and what your palate goes to. Explain to people a little bit about ArtBites before we get started with our margarita.
Yeah, we need to make a margarita. Well, basically, in a nutshell, I've always cooked. My family always cooked. growing up in Laredo, Texas, there were really not a lot of dining options. And my mom, every Sunday, she would do like Japanese food or Chinese food or Spanish food. Like she would always make it fun, and my friends would come over. So I was always interested in the stories and in just exploring more. And then I went to art school, went to culinary school, and I was researching actually a medieval tapestry. I was working at the Met at the time and came across a bunch of medieval recipes, and I was like, oh my God, people have always eaten. It was like the most obvious, like, of course people have. That got me really interested in, okay, what were they eating and why? I would look at a piece of art in the museum and look at a portrait. What was that person eating? What was the artist eating? All of that. So now,
oh my gosh,
that's what I do.
Wow, we are so excited to have you on our virtual road tour. We wanted to be doing this live and all across the country, but obviously we're in COVID, and so we're doing this virtually. We've celebrated this whole week with just so many Latinas and inspiring and informing and doing all kinds of things. So I think what we all need at a time like this is a drink. And so let's start with your recipe for a spicy pineapple margarita. And all of y'all, these recipes will be posted somewhere, I'm sure. But I want to start with the margarita so we can drink while we cook.
Yeah,
so we can
let's do it. Let's start with the margarita. We need to. And yes, this has been great. I've been watching some of these Si Se Puede tour, these stories, and it's so inspiring. There's so many people doing so many incredible things, and I love it. I love it. I'm so honored to be a part of it. But
you are exactly what this is about. People need to know you exist, and Latinas need to know you exist, because we should have you as a resource, whether it's for cooking or history or whatever. You are such a great resource. Your recipes are so fun and so easy and so culturally relevant. Like, you were just the perfect target for this. So thank you.
Thank you.
What are we doing?
Let's do it. Let's make a margarita. So I actually have a plate here with some salt, some kosher salt and tajin. There you go. Perfect.
Let me tell you, you can't have a margarita without tajin, and every Latina knows that. Tajin.
The best. Or fruit or anything without tajin. So I'm just gonna take a glass and just rim the top of it, or actually just rimmed with lime, and then just dip it in my spicy tajin mixture, salt.
Okay.
And there you have our little glass is ready. Oh, I love your glass.
You know what? I'm in a rental house right now in Oklahoma because I'm shooting a movie. And so this is not my house or my kitchen, which is so weird to cook in. You know, when you're not in your
Where's my
space?
stuff?
Where's my stuff?
Where's my favorite spatula?
But she had this great glass though.
Yeah.
And, the kitchen is actually that way. The light's better this way. So, you know, a girl over 40's gotta save herself. Right. So I got my glass, my tahini.
Glass is ready. Perfect. And I'm just gonna take a cocktail shaker, and we're making the pineapple margarita, which I love. I love everything about pineapple, and you could still find it everywhere. So I'm adding about a quarter cup of pineapple to the bottom of my cocktail shaker. You can use the glass. And then I'm gonna add, you can add 1 or 2 sugar cubes. I'm just gonna add 1. My pineapple is pretty ripe, so I'm just gonna have one little sugar cube in there. And then I'm going to add 3 mint leaves. It's going to be spicy and minty and refreshing.
Oh,
I love it. 3 mint leaves.
Are you going to muddle this or no?
Yeah, we're going to muddle it. Yeah,
we're going to. So I just leave them. Do I leave them whole like that? I just throw them in whole. Okay.
You can just leave them whole. Yeah, just 3 mint leaves. Just leave them whole. So right now we have the pineapple, sugar cubes, some mint. And I'm gonna put, just to make it even more spicy, just a little piece of jalapeno. That's perfect. Just a little slice of jalapeno. Not too much. I love spicy, but once I made this and I put a little too much, and I was coughing. It was a class, and I was like, and now we're just gonna muddle it. Just muddle it. The sugar really, it basically is gonna form like a syrup. Oh my
God. I love muddling. I like muddling things.
What
is this called? En español, ¿cómo se llama muddling? Because muddling is such a white word. This is.
I don't know what muddling is called. That's a mortero. That thing. But I don't know what the process of this movement is called. know. That's a good question.
No, but like, you know, whenever we do this a lot in our cuisine, we muddle a lot of stuff. We use a mortar.
A lot of stuff. That's the word. I want to say aplastar, but that's squishing. That's a different thing. But I guess there's got to be a technical term. I need to look.
Somebody will tell us on this Zoom here, or somebody will correct us. I want to mention to everybody too, you know, She Se Puede is a nonprofit organization. We have just decided to start this movement to really inform and inspire Latinas. And so just so you guys know, this is a nonprofit organization that just wants to get content out for our community and kind of aggregate this beautiful culture, cultura that we all share. And this virtual tour is just the beginning, y'all. It's just the beginning. We'll have many more events to come. I muddled it in this thing, so I'm gonna put it now in my thing.
Okay, perfect. So you should be nice and syrupy.
Oh yeah.
I love it. It smells spicy and minty and all of it. So now we're going to add 1 ounce of lime juice.
Okay.
So 1 ounce of lime juice.
Yep.
And we're going to add half an ounce of triple sec, or orange liqueur, whatever you have.
Half an ounce. Okay.
Half an ounce. And
what does this do? What does this do? What
this
is that?
Just it's kind of sweet. It's a little bit sweet and a little bit of bitter, depending on the kind that you use, because it has that sort of sweetness of the orange. Some of them use like bitter orange, so it gives it a little kick, but it definitely adds to the sweetness of it.
Now we have tequila.
And then this is the key. We're adding 2 ounces of tequila.
2 ounces. That sounds like a lot, Maite.
It is a lot, but hey. It is what it is. It is. It's so good. So yeah, we're adding 2 ounces of tequila, and now we're going to add some ice. Fill your shaker halfway with ice. And then we're just gonna shake it. So
let me get ice here. The great thing about this house is it has an ice machine.
Oh, that's nice.
I know that without the little tiny ice. I love it. Okay. Oh my God, that y'all, this is exciting. We're in this together. We're in this quarantine time together. So you can't get through it without a little margarita in your life, y'all. All right.
Especially now, a few weeks before. So yeah, just shake it about 30 seconds until it's nice and chilled. And now we're just gonna add some ice to our glass, to our prepared glass, and strain the margarita into it.
Oh, I didn't strain it. I just poured it in my glass.
That's totally fine. That's totally not wasting anything. But there it is. It has a little yellow tone. It should be spicy and delicious. Salud, Eva. How is it?
Oh, cheers. I like all the stuff in mine.
Yeah, I like it too. It looks so pretty.
Oh my God, that's strong but good. Oh my God, I love a tahini in a pineapple in a margarita.
So tasty.
You could probably substitute with mango. You can substitute with what else?
It's delicious with mango. It's delicious with a combination of mango and pineapple.
Yeah,
it's great with cucumber.
Cucumber mint. Cucumber mint.
Yeah, cucumber mint is delicious. So really, you could do it with any fruit. Tamarindo, it's really tasty.
That's really good. All right, now we are going to move on to a jicama citrus salad. So I think if you're Mexican, is jicama a Mexican thing, or is it?
It is actually. It is, and actually, pineapple is native to Brazil, but it had already made its way to Mexico, even pre-conquest. They were using it to treat all sorts of ailments. But jicama is native to Mexico. It's this root vegetable, and I chose this particular salad, jicama and citrus, because jicama is in season right now. It's everywhere, and citrus, of course, is well. We're sort of coming into the fall and winter where we just start seeing it everywhere. And it's this recipe, or a variation of this recipe, is in a couple of the cookbooks that I'm gonna be talking about.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that. So what we wanted to do also today, for those of y'all that don't know, is talk about some unsung heroes, culinary heroes in our community that people don't even know about. Like, I want to say a Mexican woman created the word cookbook, because like there's so much stuff that we are responsible for inventing that we never get credit for, and recipes introducing cuisines to the United States. And so let's talk about one of those women that you and I talked about before.
Yeah.
What's her name?
There are a few. I actually have 3 women that I want to point to, but you just mentioned this idea of introducing Mexican food to the United States. There's a woman named Josefina Velázquez de León, and she was amazing. And this recipe is actually in her cookbook.
The jicama salad?
The jicama salad, but it's called pico de gallo, so it's different than our regular pico de gallo, which is the tomato, onion, and chile. It's the pico de gallo, but it's jicama and orange. I decided to add a little grapefruit to it just because I love grapefruit. So Josefina Velázquez de León, she was amazing. She lived in the 30s and 40s in Mexico City. She had a cooking empire. She had a TV show. She had a cooking school. My grandmother took cooking classes from her in Mexico City in the 30s. She traveled all over the country collecting recipes. She published over 150 cookbooks.
Oh my gosh.
Little like regional cookbooks and also little pamphlets. I picked some up when I was in Mexico City last. This one is all about yeast bread. There's another one here that's like contemporary cooking. There's like economical cooking. But this one is in 1947. She published the first Mexican cookbook in the US. So we can thank her for introducing the American audience, the American palate, to the complexities of Mexican food. And it's not like Cal-Mex or Tex-Mex. It's like real like Mexican food. And she also goes into a lot of history of Mexican food, which is really interesting.
Wow.
Like she talks about the food pre-conquest. She talks about the conquest and Hernán Cortés and all of the atrocities that happened. But then she also talks about the foods that were introduced in the conquest, things like rice and, cattle. When we start seeing, cheese and meats and things like onions and citrus. Like citrus is actually native to China, but had already made its way to Spain before it came over to the country. Mangoes are native to India. So she kind of goes into all of this history, which is so interesting. Like in the 1940s, nobody
she was
thought about it.
She was our original Martha Stewart in the 1930s and 40s. That's crazy to have a food empire. She had a food empire for a woman to do that. I mean, that's so fascinating. And you know what's so funny, because people don't realize, like, maybe people do, but like chocolate, the cacao is native to Mesoamerica. Right. So like the fact that Switzerland is known for the best chocolate in the world is so baffling to me, because it's Mexican, or at least it's Central American. Right. Yeah. And it's so crazy, because that's where it's native. The colonizers took it back to Spain, took the cacao back to Spain. And I always find that to be like, we own that. I want everybody on this virtual tour to own that fact. Chocolate. The world experiences chocolate thanks to us.
That's true. And vanilla, the 2 most delicious, flavors. She actually has a whole section on chocolate in this particular book. But it's so cool because it's fully bilingual. And it's called a Mexican Cookbook Devoted to American Homes. If you open it, like literally, this is a albondigas, and then on the other side, Mexican meatballs. So one column is in Spanish and the other column is in English.
Oh my gosh.
So interesting.
I love the cover.
It's so pretty with the flags, right? I love it. With the cities, and then it's so interesting. And so this is Diana Kennedy, the British, woman who traveled, Mexico and became really famous introducing Mexican food to the country. This was her inspiration. Everybody knows Diana Kennedy. Nobody knows Josefina Velázquez de León. Julia Child's copy of this book is in the Harvard Radcliffe Library. So she was significant among a very small percentage of people. And after she died, she was a widow. She didn't have children. She kind of ran her cooking school with her sisters, and it closed.
But you just said something really interesting. She was significant to some very significant people, right? Like Julia Childs, come on. Like everybody knows Julia Childs. And yet this woman was significant to her. And so I always, I like to dig deep and recognize people where it's due. And we should do a whole series just on her recipes.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be so fun to dive into.
Totally.
Let's dive into her jicama citrus salad.
Let's dive in. So I'm gonna put this bowl over here. So what I'm gonna do is I have 2 oranges that I cut into segments. So I have the 2 oranges with their juice. So basically what I did was just cut the top and bottom. If we have time at the end, I'll just kind of demo it. Do you want me to do it now, or should I just wait till the end and see?
No, do it now. Just because I was just gonna say, girl, you told me to take these membranes off these oranges and grapefruits, and that was hard. So how do you do it?
Actually, there
must be a trick.
There's a little bit of a trick. Let me just grab an orange from down here just to kind of show. So basically, I have my orange, and I'm just gonna cut the 2 ends off.
Come and see this.
And then just cut it rather than peeling it like you would, normally if you're eating an orange at home. I'm gonna cut it with my knife, peel it with my knife, and then you're left with this.
Okay, that makes sense. We peeled the orange and then we couldn't get the membranes off, but then we did it by hand, and I ate half of it. Doing that.
How could you not? They're so good right now. So
that's the same thing with the grapefruit.
The same thing with the grapefruit. So let me just demo like how I did it is now. So I basically cut carefully with my knife, just cut in between the membrane.
Oh, you cut in between the membrane.
Yeah, and then it just.
Okay.
So it just.
I actually have seen this before. Now that you're doing this, I was like, yeah, now I remember.
Yeah,
all right. Well,
it's actually pretty simple. And then at the end, you just
cut in between the membrane.
You cut in between the membranes, and then at the end you just squeeze all
and then you squeeze all the juice out. Oh, very cool. Yeah. Wow, I did it a different way, but I'm gonna put it in my bowl.
Let's put it in your bowl, and then so that's 2 oranges, and then we're going to add one grapefruit.
One grapefruit, yeah.
The same thing with the juices and all. Oh, it's so pretty already with the pink and the
pretty.
So beautiful.
I just cut mine up a little bit because they were a little big. I love grapefruit too, but South Texas is known for those red, sweet grapefruits. That's what we're known for.
Ruby red. Oh,
the ruby red.
Whenever I see them in the store now here, I'm in LA, I freak out. Like it's the best. It tastes like home.
It's like Christmas. Yeah.
It totally is like Christmas. Totally. Totally.
All right. What's
next?
I
have my grapefruit and my orange. And I'm going to add a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. Okay. And this is just going to give it a little bit of acid. I mean, we have the citrus here, but the apple cider vinegar gives it a little bit of a kick. So I'm going to have apple cider vinegar. I'm going to add about half a teaspoon of tajin. We have to have tajin, of course.
More tajin. Where's the tajin?
This gives it like a little. She calls for chile piquin in her recipe, but I feel like this tajin, it gives it a little street, fruit stand kind of vibe.
Okay.
And I'm gonna add a teaspoon of salt. So I have my citrus, tajin, some salt, apple vinegar, and then I'm gonna add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil.
Okay, that's like you're making a dressing in the bowl.
I'm making a dressing in a bowl, exactly. And then I'm just whisking it. And it looks so pretty already.
Oh my God, it looks so pretty already.
Isn't that pretty?
Yeah.
Gorgeous. So I'm just mixing it just so that the salt, dissolves. It's all in there.
Smells good.
And then I'm gonna squeeze the juice of 1 lime.
Yeah.
So the juice of 1 lime, just to get it an extra layer of citrus. Everything tastes better with citrus. I feel like I make limeade out of everything that I love. And then I have the jicama. Again, jicama is native to Mexico. It's in season right now. It's so delicious and crunchy. So I have one, yes, it's so pretty.
Oh yeah.
So kind of crunchy. So I have one small jicama that I'm gonna mix in here.
Okay.
And then just toss it. Just toss the whole thing.
I feel like my jicama was big.
This is gonna be like in 10 minutes. It's gonna be even more delicious than it is now.
Oh yeah, you let it sit for 10 minutes?
Yeah, you can let it sit for 10 minutes and it just kind of concentrates the flavor. It's delicious now, as is.
Yeah.
But isn't that beautiful already?
Did we add the green stuff yet?
Not yet. We're gonna add it. Actually, we're gonna add it at the very end. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna add some avocado, like sliced avocado. I didn't chop this one before because I didn't want it to
turn brown.
So I think I'm just gonna add half of an avocado, just really thin slices, and just mix it.
I cubed mine.
Oh, you are cubed. Yeah, that's totally fine too. I mean, it doesn't really matter how you.
This, but let me tell you, this flavor profile is my jam. I mean, citrus with avocado. People always go, "What would be your last meal if you were gonna die?" And I always say avocado and mango.
Oh,
like
yeah.
It's not even a meal. It's just those
it's
two
just those
beautiful
flavors.
Fruits. Oh.
I know. I love plantains also. I feel like that would be on my last.
Yeah, plátanos are amazing. Oh, we can do a whole Caribbean class for all of our Afro Latinas that are watching.
Yeah, gosh. Some Jamaica.
You know what's funny is my grapefruit just fell apart in here in the most beautiful way. It's just everywhere. Yeah, but in a beautiful way.
I love that. So now we're just gonna add our herbs. I have, I'm just gonna kind of sprinkle some of this mint that I have left over from the margarita. And
the margarita.
Just kind of put it on top. You can add a little bit of cilantro, even parsley, just to give it a little bit of a little color. But I mean, not that it already doesn't have a lot of color, but that is such a pretty salad.
Oh my God, and it's so refreshing. Yeah,
it is, and it's so simple, super
simple,
refreshing. Oh, look at that, Eva, that looks beautiful.
Thank you.
Did you taste it?
It yielded a lot. It yields a good amount.
That's a lot.
I mean, that's good.
Definitely.
I think for Latinas out there who want to eat healthier, this is super healthy, vegan. I mean, this is a really good salad.
Yeah, it really is. It's almost, I mean, I love that you can find everything in the store right now. Everything's in season, and it's super healthy. It almost tastes like street food, like the frutero. There's a fruit guy on the corner of my house. It reminds you of that summery.
So beautiful. So beautiful. And I think, the key to, the key to a lot of cooking is prep. So if you have everything chopped in advance in your fridge, just chop it all up, throw it in the fridge, and then just throw it together. It's so easy.
It is. It's so easy. This is like, and then it's done. And then it's done. It kind of makes itself,
Oh
it's so easy.
I'm not a big fan of jicama because I feel like it has no flavor. But here it has a lot of flavor. We've added a lot of flavor, and also it adds texture, so it feels filling when you're chewing. You know what I mean? Like it adds a good amount of crunch.
Yeah. No, definitely. I agree with that. It adds a little. The texture of it is what's so is part of it, right? It's like it's what makes it so interesting. Yeah, I really like it. So I heard it so interesting from this woman, this other Elena Celayeta, who I learned about from
She's amazing. She's amazing.
She's amazing. I've become completely obsessed with her. I have 3 of her cookbooks, and she has a lot of the same recipes that Josefina Velázquez de León has in her book. This one also, the same recipe she has in her cookbooks, called Pico de Gallo, orange, and jicama. I added the grapefruit and the avocado just because I love the juxtaposition of the crunchy jicama with the creamy avocado. It's the same.
Tell me something. Are they in the same era? Did they know each other?
I don't know. I can't figure out if I've been doing a lot of digging. So she's younger. Elena Celayeta was younger. So I don't know that she was definitely aware of her 100%. There's absolutely no doubt because there's a lot of overlap in the recipes. So she, born and raised in Mexico City, traveled a lot to the U.S. and introduced this book in the U.S., which was, a popular cookbook published in Mexico the year before, inspired by going back, another century, 1890s. A woman named Vicenta Torres de Rubio in Mexico published. Was the first woman, not Latina, she was in Mexico, to publish a cookbook in Mexico. And she actually had a newspaper column, and she asked people to submit recipes to her. And all of the recipes are like, Querida Vicenta, this is my recipe for enchiladas from Nuevo Laredo or from Merida or from wherever, Oaxaca. And she printed them, and it's the first. Not only is it the first cookbook written by a woman in Mexico, it's the first regional cookbook. So for the first time, people in Baja could see what people in Oaxaca were eating. So inspired by that, she wrote this particular cookbook and a bunch of smaller cookbooks. Elena Celayeta was born in the 1890s in Mexico, kind of around the time that this was happening, moved to San Francisco during the Mexican Revolution, and also started an entire cooking empire. But what's so interesting about her is that she was blind. And she was blind. She had a frozen food business with her two sons. She had just a horrible, her husband cheated on her. She was totally depressed when she went blind. She had a TV show, and you can't really tell that she was blind. She had her son helping her. She had, the people on set, they tied 2 strings to her ankles and would pull them depending on where she should look, what camera she should look at. And it's so interesting, this whole idea of like the Querida Vicenta writing the recipes, or her traveling the country collecting recipes. This whole idea of women, bringing other women together, sort of the collective power of women, which is what you're doing with Si Se Puede, like this kind of women helping women. And this is this whole idea, and she got a lot of help from a lot of women, especially she was, after her husband passed away, she was blind, she had 2 kids. It takes a village, and she had a lot of support. And there's a woman named Helen Evans Brown. So like before Alice Waters in California, there was Helen Evans Brown. They were good friends, and she wrote the forwards to a bunch of her cookbooks. And it's so interesting the way that that everybody kind of writes about her. And she was very different than Josefina. She was so bubbly. She was so happy, like all the time. She was funny. People would fly her all over the country to give lectures on, not only on Mexican food, but also on just running a business. And she was an incredible entrepreneur. And she published a bunch of cookbooks. And and in 1950s in the U.S., like it blows my mind how these women are kind of relegated to this kitchen sphere, right? Where for so many years that's where women kind of belonged, but they kind of took this space that they were relegated to and made something just enormous, created sustainable careers for themselves and for other women, kind of opening the door to other women. I love kind of just reading between the lines of these cookbooks and these recipes, and her quotes, like this one, Elena's famous Mexican and Spanish recipes. She has the way it ends. Can I read this? It's super short.
Yes, please.
Adios amigos. She says, adios amigos. May your tables be filled with bounty, your days with sunshine, your hearts with joy. How sweet is that? That's how
sweet.
It's so sweet. But she also is like, so Mexican and Spanish recipes. So it's kind of this mix of culture, which is what Mexican food is, right? It's kind of this old world, new world, which is really, really, really fascinating. So she kind of brings all of these things in. And she also, and both of these women, because there are a lot of ingredients like jicama, that in the 1940s, like nobody in, Nebraska or wherever was going to find jicama. And they mentioned, appropriate substitutions that are not going to be the same, but still, like if you can't find poblano peppers, you could use green bell pepper, which is not the same, but still, you're still kind of,
Well, and honestly, that's where fusion comes from, right? Like, and adaptations. It's like Chinese food in America. You won't find this in China because we've Americanized it so much. And so that's not always, it's so funny because it's interesting that Elena was in the United States when she was doing this, and the other one was in Mexico. And so one was more assimilated than the other, I would think. And so, you're right. Like Mexican food is such a mix of colonization and that influence to today. And if you follow the data, follow the facts, follow the history, you get to discover some really interesting things about how we contributed so much to the fabric of this country. Culinary, historically, whether it's culinary, politically, I mean, everything. We touch everything. And that's what's so empowering about, I think, like you said, something about She Se Puede. It's like, now we can do it in a virtual, digital way. Like how did Elena ever speak to Josefina in the 1930s, but now we can, I can talk to Lucia in Florida. You can talk to Sara in Minnesota.
Yeah.
I just did a cooking class of the day and I had 10 people, Singapore, Australia, London, United States. I mean, it was crazy to have all these people on one. And I said, how did you find the tomatillos? Because we were making green enchiladas. And she goes, yeah, I mean, I had to look everywhere. This woman in Singapore, I said, bless her heart, running around Singapore looking for tomatillos. But she found them.
That's so cool. That's fascinating.
She found them. And then somebody, I think, I want to say Hawaii. We had somebody from Hawaii and they found the can.
Okay.
Which I was like, great, good, use it. That's great.
Yeah.
But I'm so excited because I think right now, because of COVID, everybody's been diving into cooking, right? And we're discovering like, oh, I actually can do this. And I always feel like it's something you should throw your hat in and try your hand at, because to me, cooking is so therapeutic and gratifying. Like you take this, and this, and then you end up with this. Like it's so crazy to me, the process, and so relaxing to me. Some people find cooking for their families like, oh, I got to cook for my families. And I always go, I get to cook for my family because I love it so much.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And I love that this whole idea of transforming ingredients. And also at the end, it's just, you create this experience, not only is it relaxing, but then you feed people and it's almost like in a weird way, it's like performance art, right? And then it's all gone, and I love it. You could travel to different parts of the world, different time periods in a dish. I get so excited about that.
Like I said, I love everything that you do with ArtBites. If you guys want to follow Maite, she's at ArtBites_Maite on Instagram. I cannot leave the Zoom without telling people vote. Don't forget to vote. We are just having so much fun gathering these powerhouses of Latinas throughout this whole week, and to be here with you, Maite, which you are just a force of nature and such a great example of mixing culture and history and art and just really celebrating our cultura instead of dimming the light of it. You're like, no, let's bring it to the forefront. So I appreciate you for doing that.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Thank you. Where's my drink? Oh.
Where's your margarita?
Cheers, Eva. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And all the recipes and everything, y'all, will be posted somewhere.